There's only really one story today, and that is talking about Tottenham Hotspur's brilliant display and win against Aston Villa on Sunday evening. But we also now take a look at the relegation situation after a weekend where results have meant that Spurs' survival is firmly back in their own hands. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Tottenham Hotspur have hauled themselves out of the Premier League bottom three with a desperately needed 2-1 victory over Aston Villa at Villa Park, producing one of the most assured displays of a chaotic season and breathing fresh life into their fight for survival. Spurs, who arrived in the Midlands under immense pressure and still staring at the very real prospect of relegation, struck twice inside 25 minutes through Conor Gallagher and Richarlison to stun an Aston Villa side that looked distracted, disjointed and wholly undercooked. Gallagher opened the scoring with a crisp low finish after 12 minutes before Richarlison powered a header home midway through the first half to double the visitors' lead and silence Villa Park. Aston Villa, on with one eye on firmly on their Europa League semi-final second leg against Nottingham Forest, made 7 changes and paid the price. Unai Emery's side were flat, second best and booed by their own supporters after a limp first half display in which they failed to register a single shot on target. Emiliano Buendia's stoppage time header reduced the deficit, but it came too late to deny Tottenham a victory that could yet define their season. The result lifts Spurs up to 17th and crucially out of the relegation zone, with West Ham beaten the previous day. Tottenham seized the opportunity to climb above the Hammers and move 1 point clear of the bottom three with 3 matches remaining. After months of drift, panic and managerial upheaval, survival is suddenly back in their own hands. It was not merely the points that mattered, but the manner of them. Reuters described Tottenham's display as unrecognisable from what most have served up this season, while The Guardian called it a dynamic and dominant performance under Roberto De Zerbi. The Times went further, branding it Spurs' best performance of the season so far, as the Italian's early influence continues to sharpen both belief and structure in a side that had looked resigned to its fate only a fortnight ago. De Zerbi, overseeing only his 4th match since taking charge, cut a characteristically animated figure on the touchline and was rewarded with back-to-back league wins for the first time since August. His impact has been immediate. Tottenham have now taken 7 points from his opening 4 games, and where there was once panic, there is now at least the beginnings of composure. The Italian insisted afterwards that the display mattered as much as the result, stressing that Spurs must not lose focus despite finally climbing out of danger. Reuters reported De Zerbi urging his players to remain grounded, while The Guardian noted his message to silence the voices around them and concentrate solely on the task of survival. It was the language of a manager trying to instill calm into a club that has spent much of the season lurching from one crisis to the next. Richarlison, whose first half header proved decisive, was emblematic of Tottenham's urgency and aggression, leading the line with conviction and intensity. Gallagher, meanwhile, delivered one of his most important contributions since arriving, his opening goal setting the tone for a disciplined and unusually controlled Spurs display. Behind them, Tottenham defended with the kind of organisation and commitment that has often been absent this season. For Tottenham, this was more than a win. It was a statement that the fight is not over, that the deeply troubled side still has enough resolve to drag itself clear. After spending so much of the season staring into the abyss, Spurs have finally given themselves a chance. Whether it proves the turning point in their survival bid will be decided over the next 3 matches, of course, but for now, they are out the bottom 3 and alive. So, Wolves and Burnley are gone. The final trapdoor now hangs beneath 3 clubs: Tottenham Hotspur, West Ham United and Nottingham Forest. And with 3 rounds to play, 4 for Forest as they play Chelsea this evening. Opta's supercomputer believes only one of them is still heading for the Championship. And right now, that club is West Ham. Tottenham's win at Aston Villa has turned the fight on its head. Roberto De Zerbi's side climbed out of the bottom 3 on Sunday night, and for the first time in months, survival is no longer theoretical but tangible. Spurs sit 17th on 37 points, 1 clear of West Ham in 18th and 2 behind Nottingham Forest in 16th, with Wolves and Burnley, as we know, already relegated. The numbers now make grim reading for West Ham. According to Opta's latest model, the Hammers are the most likely side to go down with a 75% chance of relegation. Tottenham's probability has fallen sharply to 22.5% after back-to-back wins, while Nottingham Forest are given just a 2.3% chance of slipping into the bottom 3. In short, West Ham are now favourites for the drop. Spurs have given themselves a fighting chance, and Forest remain in danger only if they collapse. The historical numbers are equally damning. In each of the last 9 Premier League seasons, 36 points has been enough to survive. Not this year. West Ham already have 36 and remain in the bottom 3. Opta's wider data shows 38 points brings safety 80% of the time, 40 points raises that to 90%, and 43 points guarantees survival. That means 1 more win may save Spurs. West Ham likely need at least 4 points. Forest probably only need 1. Tottenham's run-in, on paper at least, is the kindest of the 3, and that is why momentum has shifted so dramatically. Spurs host Leeds on Monday the 11th of May, travel to Chelsea on Tuesday the 19th of May, then finish at home to Everton on 24th of May. 2 home games, one against you would think a now safe Leeds side, and another against an Everton team with little left to play for, give De Zerbi's men a clear route to safety. Chelsea away is the obvious danger, but 6 points from the final 9 available is realistic. And that is the key point. Tottenham have finally got momentum. De Zerbi has taken 7 points from his first 4 matches. Spurs have won back-to-back league games for the first time since August, and the panic that defined their spring has been replaced by structure and belief. Opta's model was Spurs as favourites for the drop little more than a week ago. Now they're not even the likeliest team to fall. West Ham's fixture list is brutal, and that is why Opta has turned so sharply against them. The Hammers host, should I say, Arsenal on Saturday 10th of May, travel to Newcastle on the 17th and finish at home to Leeds on 24th. Arsenal are title chasing, Newcastle remain dangerous at St James's Park, and Leeds may still need points themselves on the final day, although this is highly unlikely. It is the toughest run in of the 3, and West Ham's margin for error is gone. There is still fight in West Ham. Before defeat to Brentford, they had taken 7 points from 3 matches and looked to have rediscovered belief. But Saturday's 3-0 loss was crushing, not only for the result, but for the psychological damage that followed. They hit the woodwork 4 times, lost heavily, then watched Tottenham leapfrog them 24 hours later. The swinging mood was enormous. Spurs now have belief. West Ham have pressure. Forest remain the least likely to go down of the 3, but theirs is the most complicated run-in. They begin away to Chelsea on Monday the 4th of May, host Newcastle on Sunday 11th of May, travel to Manchester United on Sunday 17th of May, and finish at home to Bournemouth on Sunday 24th. Vitor Pereira's side are also balancing the Europa League semi-final and could yet have a European final in Istanbul on 20th of May, 4 days before the Premier League finale. That congestion is Forest's only real danger. They are unbeaten in 6 league games, have the best form of the 3, and sit 2 points above Spurs with the game in hand. Opta's 2.3% relegation risk reflects that. Their danger is not from form, but fatigue. If Europe drains them and they lose the next 2, nerves may creep in, but on balance, Forest still look the safest of the 3. So who goes down? Right now, the evidence points firmly at West Ham. Opta says that they are 3 times more likely to go down than Tottenham, and more than 30 times more likely than Forest. Their fixtures are the hardest, their margin is the smallest, and the psychological blow of this weekend was severe. Tottenham, by contrast, have timed their recovery perfectly. They have the softest run-in, the better momentum, and under De Zerbi, a level of coherence they have lacked all season. One more win may be enough. 2 almost certainly will be. Forest should survive, though Europe may make things uncomfortable. Their cushion, form and superior Opta projection make them at least the least likely of the 3 to collapse. The table says it is a 3-club fight. The numbers say otherwise, unless Tottenham's revival stalls or Forest crack under the strain, according to the BBC at least. West Ham now look the most likely side to join Wolves and Burnley in the Championship. Okay, here's my thoughts on those stories today. Really, just but there's only one story, isn't there? The marvellous performance by Tottenham Hotspur against Aston Villa yesterday evening. I must admit, I went into this game not with a great deal of hope. I mean, I'd seen signs the previous weeks that De Zerbi was starting to turn things around for Spurs, and boy, did he continue that progression. What a performance. The whole team, I think it was the best performance of the season, to be honest with you. You could point towards the wins earlier in the season, like against the likes of Man City, but for an all-round performance, the calm, composed nature of it, we controlled the game. The team didn't look like it was panicking at all. None of the lads looked like they were panicking. In fact, they all looked like they were given a specific job and they carried it out to the letter. The subs that came on, the tempo and everything about it didn't drop when they came on, and it was just a very balanced, measured performance, professional display. If we can continue to do that against Leeds and then Chelsea, and hopefully it won't come down to Everton. Hopefully, you've got to say, fingers crossed, we'll be safe by then. But look, it's a huge week coming up for Tottenham. Yes, celebrate the win, absolutely, but I do like what Roberto De Zerbi said. He's basically, in a nutshell, saying very pleased with the performance and the individual displays from the likes of Gallagher, especially, who I thought was phenomenal on the night. But there's still work to do, keeping the players and the fans very grounded. There's still work to do, and but the most important thing is it's in our hands now. It is in our hands, and that, you know, it hasn't been for the last 2 or 3 weeks, has it? So that's important. That's important. We've got our heads above the water now, and we need to stay there. Obviously, West Ham host Arsenal first before we play. In fact, West Ham play before us 2 of the last 3 games. Obviously, the last game of the season, we all kick off at the same time, as you know. But look, the way I look at it, and I know it's ifs, buts and maybes, but if West Ham lose to Arsenal at the weekend and then we can somehow beat Leeds, we've got a 4-point gap. And then West Ham play before us again the following weekend away to Newcastle. If we've got that 4-point gap and West Ham lose at St James's Park or even draw with our goal difference, we're safe. Going into that Chelsea game and even the Everton game, obviously, we're already safe. So yes, ifs, buts and maybes, West Ham are capable of beating Arsenal. And I know that sounds daft to say, but West Ham have got a bit of character about them. They've got players that can hurt Arsenal. They've got Somerville, they've got Bowen. I wouldn't say they were unlucky against Brentford not to get something out of the game. Yes, they hit the woodwork, but Brentford, it was pretty dominant from Brentford, I would say. West Ham fans would say otherwise, that they deserved it because they hit the woodwork a few times and they deserve something out of the game. Doesn't always tell the full tale, does it? So, look, regardless, West Ham are going to be fighting. And all we've got to do is win our games and not worry about everyone else. But we're all going to be watching those games, aren't we? And I still think Forest could get dragged back into it. I think if they lose at Chelsea, against Chelsea this evening, they're only 2 points above us, so they're not safe yet. So regardless of what Opta says, and obviously the Opta story was the second one, and the look at the relegation battle, I still think Forest are in this, but we might get a clearer picture after tonight. As I say, if Chelsea, Chelsea that have sacked their manager and they put in a good display the first game without him, then I think Forest are going to be looking over their shoulders, definitely, and with European competition as well in midweek for them. If they actually get through to the final, then they're going to have that on their mind as well. So it's kind of all the pieces are falling in Spurs' favour for once. It seems like they haven't for a lot of the season, but Things have just worked out well for Spurs over the last week or so. The results have gone for us instead of against us, so fingers crossed we can keep that luck running. But all we've got to do is look after ourselves, really. And next up is Leeds United. Obviously, Leeds, you would think, are safe now. Going to be a tough game against Spurs, but that's a video for another day. Get down in the comments, let me know how you're feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now, and about any of the stories discussed in the video today. And as always, come on you Spurs.